What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Logisticalstyles coming at you with another video, and today it's going to be another discussion. This one is kind of a list that I kind of compiled, and it's basically about top 10 pieces of advice, 10 or give or so, of advice I would give to a new DJ or a DJ that is kind of just starting out. Really can apply to almost any DJ, but I think newer DJs, instead of us trying to browbeat them and talk down about, what they're doing wrong, maybe we can give some advice. And I think this is going to be something I want to do a lot more of, because I don't want to come off like a angry old DJ who only complains about the music today is not like it used to be, or the DJs are being, lazy. I don't want to focus on that, because we all know what happens. We all know that that's just part of the game right now. Things have changed. It's no longer the way it used to be. And based off the comments and the response from a video I did a couple weeks ago regarding is DJing becoming a joke, I see that there is a lot of passion for getting it done right. And I'm not the only one who has seen some, some deficiencies in the way people are approaching DJing. So instead of just being a person who complains about the problem, points out the problem, I'm going to try to do my best to help fix the problem or stop the problem from even occurring. So with that, I came up with this idea, and actually came up with the idea for this video around the same time I came up with the other video. I just never got around to making it, but holidays are here, things are going slow, so I've got time on my hands to make something. So these tips are in like no particular order. Some of them may mesh with each other, they may be very closely related, but let's just start off with number one. First rule, I would say, well, not rule, none of these are rules. First tip I would give: only buy equipment that you need. And I guess I'm not even sure why I came up with that as the first one. The first thing I wrote down might have been something I was going through at the time. But I would say this is really important, especially in today's day and age, where new equipment comes out every year. If not, new equipment comes out in like 2 different waves of the year, I think. I'm not sure. It seems like every time I turn around, there's a new controller, a new flagship controller, a new piece of equipment, a new light, a new something, and it can be real easy to get caught up in what they call gear acquisition syndrome, or FOMO, fear of missing out. And, you just end up chasing, I don't know what you're chasing. You're just trying to keep up with everybody else, and you start buying and collecting stuff that you don't even need. You may have had one gig that required that, and you probably could have rented it, whether it's a speaker or whatever, but definitely, sit back and think before you make those purchases. Don't waste your money, because there's so much better things you can do with your money than buying stuff you don't need. Next on the list would be to never stop practicing. I definitely say never stop practicing, and that was kind of coming from my other video, about is it becoming a joke. If you really love it, you're gonna practice it. Now, some people will practice longer than others, but you should always practice, even when you are an established DJ and you have a residency or you're booked every weekend. I know it's hard to get time in to practice, especially for those that have kids and families and other responsibilities, whether it be another job or anything. I understand. I get it. There's not time to waste with a 2-hour mix session every day like you may have had when you were younger. I know when I was in school, when I first started DJing, I was in high school, and I would just come home from school every day and I would just DJ. I'd be in my room or wherever my equipment was set up, and I would be DJing, playing records and doing mixes and practicing scratching, and just, I had time. But now, as an adult, my time is really limited. But I do always try to find some time to put some practice in during the week. Um, don't use your residencies always as a practice. Don't use your gigs as practice. That's the actual show. That's showtime. You should be um, kind of on top of your game by the time you are in front of an audience. But, I think you should really put some time into at home practicing or even coming up with ideas. Practicing doesn't always necessarily mean the act of playing music or the act of DJing, but it could be, thinking of ideas, going through your going through your music collection, trying to sort your crates, make better crates, more effective crates. So don't stop practicing. And that leads into the next one, which is never stop digging or looking for new music. It's very easy to just sit back and have your same crates because they've worked at the last party that was similar to the one you're at now or whatever. We do have crates that we make, but you should maintain them, put some maintenance into them, go out and try to find something new. As a DJ, I think you should be pretty high up there. You should have a pretty high musical IQ. You should know about more than just one genre. You should be able to have some variety or flexibility, unless maybe you're just, strictly focusing on one genre and that's a decision you made, purposefully. Then, Godspeed with that. But I think you'll have more success if you have a wider musical knowledge, and that you only get from digging and looking for new music. And sometimes it's not looking for new music, it's looking for music that's new to you. I can also go through my record crates. I still have my physical record collection here, and I I can go through and pull out one or two crates and flip through those records and find something that I have not been playing recently, but it can still, do something on the dance floor. It can get a party going. So that's one way of digging. Dig through your old music, dig through your library. A lot of people are out there buying hard drives and swapping hard drives, and they don't even go through what's in the hard drive. Dig through a hard drive, dig through records, dig through physical media somehow, but just keep digging, keep looking, because that's going to make your job so much easier and it'll make you better at it. Next on the list kind of goes back to my first uh, tip, which was only buy gear you need. But when you do buy this gear, make sure you invest in quality gear. Don't skimp out. Don't always buy the cheapest. I mean, you're in charge of your budget and you know what your money is like. So that's a decision for you to make. But don't just constantly buy the cheapest thing possible, because it halfway gets the job done. You can buy speakers that are really inexpensive and that are really good for certain purposes. And if you use them for those purposes, you'll have good success. But if you buy the cheap speaker, but you're trying to do big events, fill like gymnasiums with sound for proms and stuff like that, you can't be going with the bottom of the barrel. You got to put some money into, you got to invest into yourself. And a good reason to do that is because it's just going to pay for itself in the long run. The equipment will last longer. The manufacturer will probably have better support for you if you have any issues with it. And if you want to resell it, you'll have some value left versus something that was already inexpensive to begin with. You're not investing in yourself. You're just putting a Band-Aid on something until you can hopefully buy something better. But it is much more easier on your pocket, and you will look back in retrospect and feel better about yourself if you invest in some quality equipment. Doesn't have to be the most expensive equipment, but something quality. Test it. Do your research. Don't just look at the price. Don't just look at the watts, which don't mean anything. Don't look at just one spec. Try, if you can, to put your hands on it and get some actual hands-on experience with whatever you're shopping for. Next on the list, hire or use an accountant, at least for your taxes. At least when it comes in, this is just like a U.S. thing. So I know there are people who live in other countries who watch this, but in the U.S., we have to pay our taxes every year, and the tax code is not really written to be interpreted by the average person. You need someone who actually studies the tax code and knows how to take advantage of the rules of our tax system. And I will tell you that I tried many years to do my own taxes, and it was always an uphill battle, and I never felt like I was getting credit for everything I needed. And it wasn't until I hired an accountant. And I got very fortunate because I worked for a CPA, an accounting firm. And one of the benefits we had from the job was to allow one of the staff accountants to do our taxes. And he opened my eyes up to the deductions I could take because I was running a business. So that really helped. And even after I left that job, I fell backwards and started trying to do my taxes again, and it just wasn't working out. I reconnected with an old employee from that firm, and he had started his own firm. And, I became his client. And it paid off in dividends. It just made a whole big difference between what my tax return looked like when I tried to do it, thinking I was smart, versus when I had actual professional to do it. So just the same way we tell our clients that they want to hire a professional DJ to do their events, we should be hiring professionals for certain tasks in our lives. Some things we can't do everything. I know in this day and age, a DJ has to be a DJ, a promoter, a photographer and videographer, a social media expert, but you don't have to be a CPA. You can hire a CPA. It seems like they can be expensive, but having that knowledge and having someone to back up your tax return in case you ever get audited is priceless. So definitely hire yourself a professional. Next up, networking with other DJs. I see a lot of questions in different forums and different websites where people ask, how can they grow their business, or how can they get other gigs? How can they break into doing corporate events, or how can they break into doing weddings? And I'm gonna tell you, the best way that I was able to do that was by working with other DJs. 90% of my work, probably, and that's really not an exaggeration, probably close to 90% of my work comes from my relationship with other DJs. Whether it's a DJ that's subcontracting me to do events that they book, or if it's someone who's just tossing me a referral because they are booked, or they think I can do a better job with the client, based on my style. I mean, many different reasons, but it's all come from networking. I don't pass out a ton of business cards. I have a website, but it's pretty much neglected. I really need to, work on it. But my work comes from my network of other DJs who have the same standards that I have. DJs that I work with have the same ideas of what a clean setup looks like, how a professional DJ should interact with clients, and we have a mutual respect for each other. So as a result, we're able to send gigs each other's way. And that is what has been keeping me busy all my career. And I've been doing this for a while. So definitely network. You can't be an island. I know we want it. I'm kind of a loner, and I like to do things on my own, but it takes guts or courage to be able to say, hey, I can't do everything on my own, and find someone who can help you, or just get a good solid team, because you never know when you might need someone to fill in or back up for you. And you got to have a good network of numbers to call when that time happens. And going hand in hand with that, the next thing on the list is go out and listen to other DJs. So even if you're not trying to network with them, go out and hear what they're doing. Go out, from time to time, go to a bar, or a lot of restaurants have DJs now. Maybe you might just want to get out. I know I'm not really trying to hang out in the clubs too much, so that has really slowed me down from hanging out and listening to other DJs. But there are other places where DJs are performing, and go there, patronize their spot, and maybe that will lead to a networking opportunity if you go out, frequently enough. So definitely do that. Go out and listen and see what other DJs are doing. Next on my list, this is totally different topic. Read the manual for your equipment. I cannot stress that enough. You need to learn how to use your equipment. It makes no sense to save and get some really good equipment with nice features and you never use it because you don't know how to use it. You own it. You have invested in it. Now, take it a step further. Get the knowledge that's in that manual. Get you a manual, a user manual. This is right here. This is the user manual for the B-topper lights that I did a review for, and I had to do. And I didn't just read this manual because I was doing that video, but I do that with every piece of equipment I get, even if I don't end up using every feature or remembering everything that I read. At least I've gone through it, and maybe I have. If I encounter a situation, something might trigger something or jog my mind to go back. I'm like, yeah, I did remember reading something about that in the manual. Let me go back and pull that out. So definitely read the manual. You'll learn some really good tips about equipment you don't know exist. I know, like with the Pioneer controllers, there's a utility mode you can go in and customize stuff. Nobody, people who don't read those, they don't know how to get to it. And I remember when I had the SR2, I had my rings on the SR2 were blue versus the standard red. And everybody who saw it always asked how to do it. And it was like right there in plain view in the manual. So read your manual, check it out. The last one is prepare for your gigs. Do some kind of preparation for your gigs. I always try to put together a crate or two for a gig, based on the demographics that I'm expecting to be there or based on like what the client tells me. I know I'm not going to strictly stick with that playlist or that crate, and I know I'm not going to go in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right down the line, but I find that I have more confidence. I'm less nervous about a gig if I have an idea, some kind of game plan, some kind of plan of attack for how am I going to approach this and get people up. And then when you do that, you can kind of look back and see your old gigs. Like if you use Serato, DJ Pro has it, but you have a history feature where you can go back and look at all the sessions you had and kind of see what songs you played before. If you're planning your attack, if you're coming up with a game plan for your parties, you can kind of go and use that as a tool to research and be like, oh yeah, I did play that and it worked well, or it didn't work well. But I think you should definitely plan your attack when you do these videos. When you do these parties, have an idea of what you are going to start off with. Maybe it's just your first 5 songs. Have those ready. Be ready. Don't get to the gig and be trying to figure out, well, what am I going to play? What am I going to play? Yeah, sometimes you get there and you see a different crowd than what you expected to see and you want to change it on the fly, and that's perfectly fine, but it always helps to have some kind of preparation done. And that can also be a part of your practice. So like I said, some of these topics go hand in hand with each other, but it's something to consider. And one more, and I'll end this list, and that is don't chase trends. Just because you see everybody doing a certain style of mixing or using a certain style of DJ furniture or whatever, don't feel the pressure to jump out and get it, because that just goes back to the very first thing on my list, which is only buy what you need. If you're getting along fine and you've got clients that are repeatedly booking you and people are seeking you out, you're doing something right. Now, yes, you always want to improve and get better, but don't just chase the trend because you see other people do it. Sometimes it may not work in your area. It may look great on Facebook, but in your local area, it may not be something that people do, that clients want. They may not pay extra for certain, things that are big on one side of the country or another state or whatever. So don't chase trends. Think about what you're doing, put some thought behind it. And I think if you take these few tips in to heart, you'll find that you'll have a better success. You'll be more happy with your events and the way your career is going. And these aren't like rules. These aren't, things that you must do because I do it. This is just my suggestion. These are all positive suggestions, trying to get trying to get a dialogue going that isn't just angry about new DJs. So I hope these made sense to you. I'm sure y'all have your own tips as well. Go ahead, feel free, put them in the comments. Let's get this positive train going. You know what I'm saying? We got a new year getting ready to start, and I think we can all start off on a good foot with some positivity. We could all use that. So that's my little short video for today. It's not a rant, it's not anything but good vibes. If you liking what you see, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and definitely welcome to all the recent subscribers I've gotten over the past month. The channel has really gotten a boost in activity. I really appreciate the comments and the input from all of you. So like I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. All right, peace.